My third friend at the table smiled in silence. In silence is the way Mindy does everything. She has a speech sound disorder, which means she can't make certain language sounds the right way. Fish sounds like fis, and that's only the tip of the iceberg. Mindy's speech problem wasn't really a big deal in elementary school, but by the time we got to junior high, it was like a ticking time bomb. She just couldn't get rid of it. She does better in Spanish because it's her native language, but hardly anyone speaks Spanish at Harrison, so that's no help. And it doesn't matter that she's super pretty. There are some things most people can't or won't get past. She flew under the radar until freshman year, when she caught Blake's attention as my new best friend. Blake termed her estupida, and it stuck. It's a sound disorder, not a stutter, but whatever, Blake. Now Mindy's making straight C's because she won't speak in class. "Over here, Blake!" yelled Anborg Alsvik, the exchange student who got caught having sex with herself in the drama department's costume closet, while wearing nothing but the curly red wig from Annie. Anborg whipped out her hot pink biphone and snapped a photo of Blake on her linoleum catwalk. Anborg was obsessed with Blake. She started a fan website called OMG Love You Blake, God Bless Blake in America.com, where she posted photos. She captioned the photos with things like, "Thirsty Blake, drink water from fountain," or "Blake wears shiny shoe with pointy toe." Blake stopped to pose for Anborg, and my sweat turned ice cold.
"Don't you need a date to go to homecoming, Audrey?"
Nagit was asking as Blake tucked her chin and pouted at Anborg. Aiden fidgeted with his binder. A flush crept over the skin near his inky hair. Blake gave Anborg one more pose, draping her arm over her head and partly shading her eyes straight out of America's Next Top Model, and then told Anborg to get a freaking life before starting toward our table again. 9 feet, 8 feet, 7 feet away. I could get a date if I wanted to, I told Najit. Total lie. I hadn't had a date since freshman year. I'd kissed a few guys, but not anybody worth talking about, especially not with Blake 6 feet away. I never actually even had a boyfriend. Maybe I needed new clothes, or maybe I shouldn't have cut my almost black hair into a pixie cut, even if the lady at the Clinique counter said it made me look gamine. She also said my green eyes were to die for, but then she tried to sell me $50 moisturizer, so who knows. Blake had enough boyfriend getting power for both of us. A few tables away, her BF, lacrosse king Xander Knight, was busy being hot and stoic, while the rest of her pack laughed and pointed at my lunch table. "Real live video, like the YouTube!" Anborg shouted as she ran alongside Blake, catching it all on her phone. Blake's sequin miniskirt went swish, 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 like a soundtrack for her strut. I flashed back to the afternoons Blake and I used to spend in my mom's closet, trying on heels and skirts that were too big for us. We used to stage fashion shows in my parents' bedroom, and my mom would pretend to judge the looks, like on Project Runway. Xander turned to watch Blake. Mindy's and my shared Xander Knight obsession meant we'd memorize the golden flecks that sparkled in his hazel irises. I felt my stomach twist for the split second he caught my glance before looking away, like I didn't exist. In junior high, Xander was the kid who wore the same clothes 3 days in a row, clammed up when a teacher called on him, and played by himself at recess. I was always super nice to him because the other kids weren't, but then he outgrew me, literally, by sprouting 7 inches and growing muscles and chiseled features. He still wore the same clothes too often, a variation on broken-in corduroys and a vintage t-shirt, but he wore them so well no one gave a crap. And now the tables have turned, and I'm the freak. Xander settled his glance on Anborg, who was yelling, "Every person, check out OMG Love You Blake, God Bless Blake in America.com for real-time video," as she jumped over books and bags to get her footage. Within seconds, there were dozens of eyeballs darting between Blake and me from all across the cafeteria. Someone help me. The clicking sound from Blake's kitten heels stopped. She flicked a lock of jet black hair over her shoulder. Then she jutted out her hip and leaned forward with both hands against the table. Every part of Blake was tanned and toned, even her boobs, like Jennifer Aniston or Jessica Rabbit. The heady floral scent of her tuberose perfume wafted in the air between us. We stared at each other. Najit was the first.